Well, it is time, my friends. I've now ridden this bike for 5,000 miles, and this is what I think about it. Yeah, that's right, 5,000 miles. Had this thing for me 6, maybe 7 months, and 5,000 miles later, I have some things I want to say about it. One of them being, why that is a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. The fact that it only has one brake disc kind of makes it a little tedious driving on the streets. After riding for maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours, you start to feel very, very bad brake fade. I go riding around with some friends, and by the time I'm done and on my way home, I'm noticing I'm having to really just squeeze the front brakes to get some type of pressure out of it. Obviously, I'm trying to keep it 50-50 between the front and the rear just to preserve the life out of it. For some reason, they put a whole bunch of time, development, and money into the DVT system and the way the engine's set up, but spent 35 cents to get a Brembo sticker on a one-sided rotor brake setup doesn't quite make sense to me. I understand it's a cruiser, but at the end of the day, this is what stops you from being stopped, you know what I mean? The second biggest issue I noticed on the bike might just be me. It's a key fob. Therefore, it doesn't have a key to actually start the engine. So I'm basically stuck here if the battery runs out on the key fob. And I've noticed that since I've been using it for the past 4 or 5 months, it started having a little bit more of a rough time starting up. I need to sit here, turn the key, and now it's on. That took a little longer than when I first got the bike. Might be an issue. Despite what people say, I believe firmly that internally, externally, spiritually, this is a cafe racer. Don't let the looks deceive you. From the raked body positioning to the mid controls, they also make rear controls. It just needs to be raised maybe 1 inch, 2 inches, and it's a full-blown cafe racer with the fat front tire and the fat rear tire. Listen, you're not gonna put a 160 as a front tire and not think of like the old school cafe racers that they made with Triumphs and Nortons, and it's a cafe by heart. Also, not to mention the very cafe-esque upswept exhaust. Not at all Harley, very much cafe from Triumph. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of fenders on a bike, but that's pretty fucking cool. Little exoskeleton, not to mention actual metal instead of plastic. I give it a pass. With the bike having a really good power plant, really good power on command, and also really comfortable ergonomics, there's really not much I can say that's wrong with the bike. If you want that next step up from a 400 or even a 300, or if you go a little bit lower to maybe even 250, well, if you have a 250, maybe step up to like a 400. But stepping up from a entry-level bike going into more or less a middleweight, I'd say this is probably one of the best step-ups that you can do. It's slightly faster than 600s. It moves in almost every single gear. Third gear feels like first gear on a sport bike, and every gear after that, just you keep coasting. You keep going and going, and it pulls all the way through, and that's thanks to the VVT. The VVT on this bike makes it to where almost every single gear at any RPM has power and beautiful torque delivery. Just look at it. Just look at it. With it being a Harley Davidson, I have to say the price point for what you're getting, a little steep. It's a little bit. Prices are gonna be starting around, I'm gonna say this right here, and goes upwards to this. If anything, I'd wait until someone in your area gets one and then buy it for MSRP, if not a little bit lower. That's probably the best way to get one of these, because for the price that they're asking, it's a little steep for what you get, especially with only having one brake disc. And that's really all I have to say about the bike. Other than that, it's a solid bike. Are there other options that it's gonna be faster? Yeah. Are there other options it's gonna handle better? Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you want a really good middle of the road bike that could go to the mountains, have some fun, and you're comfortable on the highway, and you don't have to worry about wobbles because Harley Davidson fixed that, I don't see why you wouldn't want to get one. I guess at the end of the day, it's really just going to be what is comfortable to you. Although a lot of the guys with sport bikes ask if they can sit on it, and they love it. So that's saying something. Now, with all that being said, there is one thing that might make you want to look away from this bike if you're into sport bikes. This and the R7, almost identical, except the R7 is just a sport bike, this is a cruiser. But as far as 0 to 60 and top speed, they are nearly twins. There is no difference between the 0 to 60 to top speed. I hope you guys enjoyed the quick little breakdown of everything I like and dislike about this bike. I know there's really not that much, but there's really not that much to talk about. It's still a Harley Davidson, still bare bones at the end of the day. There's no crazy hidden secrets or anything you need to relearn. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just trying to round it out. That's all it is. And with that, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want, like if you want, and if you didn't like it, dislike. Doesn't matter to me anyways.